Hi, I'm Ryan. I am the guitar player in Nickelback, and we are from Vancouver. One more depending on a prep, and we all look away. We finished the last tour at the end of October last year. And yeah, we just needed some downtime. And so we took about 4 months off. And we all just kind of went boom and went to our own little areas. And Mike lives in Hawaii. And we all live still around Vancouver. So we just had to, get away from it for a bit. So, 4 months was long enough, I think, to recharge the batteries. And then by the end of March, we were all feeling like maybe doing something again. So we all got back together and started recording in Abbotsford, the lower mainland of Vancouver, where Chad has a studio. People pretending everywhere, it's just another day. We worked with Mutt Lang, the last album, and we've kind of got our style in the studio anyway, and we co-produced it with him, so we don't completely let go of the reins and let somebody take over. But it was great having Mutt steer the ship, in a sense, and great songwriter as well. That was nice to have as a producer, having songwriting qualities. But I think that we did the long road on our own. We did all the right reasons on our own. So we're pretty comfortable doing it on our own, and it was a matter of just, I don't know, maybe it's not being organized enough that we just get in the studio and we just start. There's bullets flying through the air, and they still carry on. We don't lay out these grand plans, we just get in and do it. And so we just started writing, and you lay ideas down, and now writing and recording are almost synonymous. They're just, when you're writing, you're recording. We don't lay down shitty versions of it. There's certain things you do have to record over again, but in general, it was all one seamless process. If you have an idea, you record that part, and that's essentially it, especially in the sense that you can translate it best on your own. So if somebody had it wasn't exclusive to that instrument. If somebody had a good drum idea, we're great at sounding out drums. If I can't play it, I'll play it on my mouth. I'll be can you do that? And then Daniel just translates it. Or a bass line if something doesn't fit. And we're all pretty part savvy. We all get how the bass should fit the drums and whatnot. So yeah, no, I think any idea was welcome if it fit. So it had to make sense. We watch it happen over there, and then just turn it on. We get the foundation of the song for sure, where you've got a really good idea of, okay, we get the rhythm of the song going, and then we just lay down some drums, some quick, easy drums on top of it, and then everything just kind of starts to fall in place. We'll piece together, a bit of bass and, maybe a little bit better, like a melodic guitar. If it's, like I said, if it's on the top of your head, you get it down, and then if it's not good enough, we'll do it again, but get the idea down. And then you take that idea as far as it goes, and then we'll jump to the next song and just leave that for now. Go back. So we didn't finish each song to completion and then moved on. We were just and just kind of slowly building the wall on each song. We must stand together. For guitars, we had I've got a Flying V that I made that I just kind of beat the shit out of. And I use that on stage quite a bit. We use that for recording, and an old, I think it was some sort of, Chad has a 60s reissue Gibson Les Paul. Used that. Amp-wise, we used kind of everything from a Marshall to a Boogie to like a triple rectifier to, I don't know what they had. I think it was a Vox clean channel, and then various amp plugins. The drum setup was pretty static. We had, once we set up Daniel, we had him set up. And I think it's similar for bass. They tried some different things with the bass for stomp boxes and stuff like that, just to get a different tone, these tube stomp boxes. And but outside of that, we just kind of, we were, like I said, really focused on the songwriting first, And then the experimenting was later. I think a good song can translate in almost any genre, I would like to think. A good song is a good song. Whether it's kind of stripped down or whatnot, but it's got to stick in your head too, I think. If we're working on a song for 2 weeks and I wake up after 2 weeks and and it's not really stuck in my head, I can't quite remember some of the beginning parts we did and stuff, or I can't bring the chorus up right away in my head, that's a terrible sign. If it's not a memorable part where we want to go back in and work on it again, then I think we're not on the right track. So that's what I think also helps make a good song. That's when we I think it's a slightly separate talent that you can add to being a musician, is being able to know how to piece together a nice song. And it doesn't have to fit the normal, verse, chorus. You can do that. It doesn't always have to be that way. We've got a few that we've had in like crazy time signatures. It could be whatever, but I don't think it'll hold people's attention span. So these ones hold my attention span. That's definitely good for the album. Even if it's shit, if you're doing it and you're like at the beginning, you're like, oh God. Well, then you just realize what you shouldn't do. That's good. Okay, next step, and then you just kind of keep building on it. And I think that just comes with spending 10,000 hours doing it. They tell us everything's all right, and we just go along. It's very exposing when you bring something to the band. Your ideas are pretty precious in your own mind, but I think we're pretty comfortable with each other now. That you just spit it out. You can't be shy about it. And it's easy to just sit back and let other ideas from other people flow, but you just have to speak up, and that's how it's a pretty open forum, is what I basically am saying. It's a pretty open forum in the band where we all, can feel pretty comfortable spitting out new ideas. How can we fall asleep at night when something's clearly wrong? I'd like somebody else to tell me how it's changed, because you get caught up in it, and you feel like you're doing, other different stuff, but it's really, I think it's a lot easier for people who are critically listening to it in that sense, to see how it's changed. And so that's what you can hope for as a songwriter, that you're doing some different things and whatnot. So, and hopefully getting better at what you're doing. But always serve our empty words that always taste the same. Just keep writing. Keep writing, keep writing. I don't think you should write a certain way. I think that would kind of tell somebody how to write when they've got their own style, maybe, which could be fantastic. And it's nothing we've ever thought of. It's like, oh, I never thought of doing that. Making maybe just a 2-part song, and that's it. There's not, or I don't know. Like, I mean, you don't want to stifle someone's creativity, but the best thing that you could possibly do is just keep writing. You can only, I think, get better. You can only get better. So it sounds kind of nebulous, but more time. Just keep writing. The right thing to guide us is right here inside us. No one can divide us when the light is nearly gone. You want to make each part memorable in its own right, whether it's the verse, or the pre-chorus, or the chorus, or post-chorus, if you want a post-chorus. I mean, there's all these parts you can have. And, I mean, the attitude is, you may have good intentions, and it may not always work out. Our intention is, let's make every part catchy. Let's make every part as catchy as it can be. Instead of just a catchy chorus, and then kind of, throw a verse in here and something else. Let's make every part memorable. Why not? You'll come up with a piece, you'll come up with a chorus, and you'll come up with a bridge maybe, or the intimate eight, or whatever you like to call it, and you'll go, listen, and you have to be very honest. I like the song, but when I go this part here, I don't need to hear again. I don't want to hear it again. It's not terrible. I just don't want to hear it again. This part, the bridge that happens once, that's awesome. Maybe we can make that into the chorus because that's awesome. And then let's make another bridge. Let's write something else. So it's always about making it better. But just like a heartbeat, the drum beat carries on. The rock songs, we have a pretty good idea of how to come around those. They're based around the riff because we'll all sit around, and as soon as you start going like this, you're like, oh, okay, this is good. Like we're all on the same page about this, and it's about the riff. You still want to make that song catchy in its own right as well, but the rock songs, we have a slightly different approach than melodic songs. And the drum beat carries on. We definitely have live shows in mind for sure. We've always kind of kept that in mind because that's a huge part of what we do. It always has been a huge part of what we do. It's we've never been just a studio band. The tough part is writing a riff and then writing, playing that riff over and then singing a part over top of it, and then actually going, oh shit, now I've got to sing and play this riff at the same time, and then you have to train yourself, and it ends up being one of those kind of things. I used to go on stage with a wah pedal and a foot switch. It's pretty straightforward. So, and we still kind of do it in that sense. I think if you just get a good, for me, if I have a good delay, and I've got a wah just for something different sometimes. Everything else is pretty, rock guitar riff based. I play through triple rectifiers on stage, and then I have a Fender Twin that I play through, and I switch back and forth for clean. I like having a different net for my clean channel. So that's different than when we started out. When we started out, it was like whatever you got, you just go back and forth. So I've got the luxury of at least doing that. That's when we are winning. If you're having a good time on stage, show the people, because it'll come back at you, okay? Because they'll see that you're having a good time. They'll feel comfortable, and then they'll have a better time. And then we go, okay, it's working. And then it just feeds back and forth. I'm sure a lot of bands obviously say that, but and then the more success we saw in different areas of the world, the larger our ideas became for the show, and now our show has become, up there with the music, which I don't think you want to get out of balance necessarily, but we definitely get to the point where the music is the focus, but you might as well give them a good time. You might as well give them, a good experience. And we want people walking away saying, that's a great show, I want to come back.